Hello, and welcome to Tea Time, sponsored by New Jersey Tea Party Coalition. I'm Ray, and I'll be your host for tonight. We have a very exciting show. As you know, in about 50 more days, we're coming up to the most crucial election our country will have seen. And it really is important. It's for our freedom. We really need to get out the vote. We want to change the course of our country. We want to take it back to the way our founding fathers meant for it to be. And having said that, we have one of our very own members, Anna Vreeland, who has come up with an initiative, her and her husband, called GOTV, or Get Out the Vote. So Anna, welcome.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Well, thank you for being here. And this is such an exciting thing that you're doing, and I hope that you can explain to everyone exactly what GOTV is, and,
sure.
and also how you became involved in this endeavor.
I'll be excited too. GOTV really started as a small idea at the kitchen table in our house, and it's been embraced by New Jersey Tea Party Coalition, and I'm very thankful for that. And what the movement is really a grassroots movement of finding like-minded individuals and making sure that we can get them out to vote, because that's so important. What I want you to think about is really a power of 5. If I can bring 5 people, and then the 5 people can bring 5 more people, now we have 25 people who can bring 5 people more. All of a sudden we have 125 people who are looking for 5 people more. So it's really the multiplier. And what's important about this is we do follow a plan.
Okay.
What we try to do in GOTV is we try to follow what's been presented at the National Tea Party Convention that took place in February in Nashville.
Right.
There was a presentation given, and it came from the website, thevoicesofamerica.org. And what the two founders of that organization did, they stressed the importance of organizing Get Out the Vote in a neighborhood level, not on a national level, but really making a difference in your town, in reaching out to your neighbors. And I'm going to share an example with you, because I was very impressed by the presentation that I did watch. And what was presented to us was an average district. And for the simplicity of the math, a number of 1,000 eligible voters was used.
Right.
Of the 1,000 voters in the average district, about 80% are registered. Of the 80%, 60% vote in midterm and in general elections. And only 30% vote in primaries. And yet,
wow,
that's where the candidates are chosen.
Sure.
So if you do think about 1,000 eligible voters,
right,
all of a sudden you have 200 who are not even registered.
wow,
And you have anywhere from 300 to 500 who don't vote. They're registered and they don't vote. And you know what made a huge impact on me during the presentation was the importance of how little it takes to win elections. For example, Jimmy Carter
right,
won Ohio by as little as 1 vote per district.
wow,
That's 650 votes.
wow,
And you know, you can just reach out to somebody who you know, one person, and we're not even talking about 5. And if you can bring 5, all of a sudden it's really easy to take elections back. The town I live in Bergen County, we have about 6,000 registered voters. And in the last primary elections, we've elected a councilman with 200 votes.
and out of 6,000?
Out of 6,000.
Wow.
And in the school board elections, we had 2 candidates. We could not even find a 3rd candidate who was willing to run.
Wow.
So the 3rd candidate was elected by 50 write-in votes. If you know people in your town, if you belong to organizations, if you know people who belong to organizations, you can go and talk to your neighbors about what's going on in the neighborhood. You can get 50 of your neighbors together, write in the name of the candidate, and have somebody who shares your value system, who is a fiscal conservative, who believes in limited government, who believes in free markets. Represent your town and represent the people. So,
well, specifically for this coming election, okay, which is really crucial, And it's important that everybody who can vote get out to vote. And so can you give specifics, say, for, like myself, I plan to get out to vote in my town. How specifically I would go about doing that?
Oh, absolutely. Couple of ideas that we do want to share with people is, and it's actually share the tools with them of what they can do. And what you can do, step one is you want to identify the like-minded voters. You can go into your town clerk or a county clerk and you can obtain the registered voter list. That list will give you names of registered voters, their addresses, their party affiliation, and also their frequency of voting, so you know whether they vote or not. Some of them could be your neighbors. And if you now think back to the 300 to 500 people per 1,000 who don't vote, all of a sudden you can strike conversations with them, and you can encourage them to take stand, to exercise their most important right and go out and vote. You know, the funny thing happened a few weeks ago. I was talking to my neighbor, and she approached me and she said, Anna, I'm going away. Can you please water my plants? And I said, sure. And we talked a little bit more, and I said, you know, I'm going to a Glenn Beck rally tomorrow. And she says, oh my goodness, my husband loves Glenn Beck. So I said, well, when you come back, I can invite you for coffee. I can show you pictures and videos from the event. And she says, I would love to. And you know what? The two new people moved in next to me. You haven't had a chance to meet them yet. Can I bring them along? And I said, sure, but do you know if they like Glenn Beck? And she says, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. And, you know, and I actually started sharing with her what we are doing with GOTV. She is very active in our town, in the local church. And we actually are planning a meeting in the church to introduce our efforts. So a simple conversation that started with watering the plants, now it's actually getting out, and we're doing something about it. So it's really easy. And, you know, to go back to your earlier question, why are we doing this? Because it's so important that people do take action and they do something. You know, I've been to so many rallies, and they're absolutely wonderful. You do meet the like-minded people. And then you go home, and then you wonder, what else can I do?
Exactly.
Instead of just making a sign and going and making my presence known, what else can I do? And you know, and the rallies are like the pep rallies prior to the sporting events, but they just don't win the games. It's the votes. It's the votes that make the difference. So that's why I'm doing this, because I do believe that as little as one vote can make the difference.
Right. So even if, like, when I gather the people, you have a list, you've gathered a list of the different people in the different towns. There's 70 towns?
There's 70 towns in Bergen County.
And you're hoping to get someone from each town.
Absolutely.
And then they can get a group of people together with the voter rolls and actually go on foot and go to the different neighborhood, and knock on their doors and help them to either register to vote if they're not, or to encourage them to vote. And, you know, if they want information on the different candidates, hopefully we'll be able to give them that, and they can make their informed choices. And so, but it'll start with a core group, and who can either do the walkathon or maybe call on the telephone to get out the vote.
Yes.
And maybe you can, you know, that's how you can get involved in your town, so you don't have to be the precinct chair, or you could do as little as you want to do or as much as you want to do.
And that's the beauty of this effort, because it's really not how much time you can commit to it, but it's the importance of doing something. And if you do want to organize a group in your town, yes, if you have your friends, invite them over and share the idea. Get the voters list, so that way you know where the low-hanging fruit is in your town.
Right.
So you know who the like-minded voters are who don't vote. You can make up pamphlets about candidates who are running. You can actually let people know who is running in town. You can go and talk to different organizations within your town. You may not be a member of them, but some of your friends could be, and they can break the initial wall for you and actually invite you over. And it's really just becoming informed on the issues. And you're right, this election is so crucial, and we have very limited time to make the difference. some candidates, the candidates have been chosen. We have who we have to vote for, and it's important that we get out and vote. But even after the elections, you know, this effort needs to continue.
Yes.
We need to hold the candidates, our elected officials, accountable. Go to your town meetings, go to your school board meetings, and make sure that you make your presence known, and make sure that you hold the candidates, the elected officials, accountable for their actions.
Right, right.
If they know that they're being watched, they will pay attention to what they are doing.
I agree.
And if they are not watching what they're doing, then you're just going to organize your town and put up the candidates who you will be proud of, who will be like-minded.
Right, right, right. Well, there are some dates now for registering, and maybe you can share with the people the different dates.
Oh, absolutely. With, you know, it's important that you do register to vote, and that date is 21 days prior to the election, and it's October 12th this year. October 12th.
To register.
To register to vote.
Okay.
Yes. Another important date is if you are registered and you can't vote, you cannot attend, it's 7 days prior to the election.
That's for the absentee vote.
That's for the absentee vote, and that's October 26th. And that's to apply by mail. It has to be postmarked by October 26th. If you miss that, you can go to the county clerk as little as 1 day prior to the election and apply for the absentee ballot in person. And for those who don't have a chance to register, if they really miss it, go out and still talk to people who are registered and get them out to vote, because each vote does count. It does make a difference.
Right. Now, where can people go to get more information so they, you know, they can see the visual of it? Because I need the visual. So
absolutely.
Maybe you can share the website.
I strongly encourage them to go to www.njtpartycoalition.org. We do have the subcommittee GOTV put up on the website. My email address is right on the home page, which is Anna, A-N-N-A, @njtpartycoalition.org. And if people have questions, on how to start in their own towns, or whether identify people who may already have the initiatives in their towns. We have presence in 36 towns in Bergen County.
Already? Oh,
already.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So the effort is rolling. Please email me, please contact me, and I'll be happy to share the information.
Right. Well, I know I'm going to be calling upon you, and hopefully Anna will be coming to my home and helping us organize in my neighborhood to get out the vote. And, you know, because if we want to change what's happening, it's only going to happen if we change it by our vote. Our vote is powerful, and we can make a difference. And Anna, I really, you know, thank you so much for your passion and the idea you and Bill had, and just bringing it to fruition. And I know we're going to get a lot of, you know, information. People are going to want to know more information.
And please do go to the website, and I'll be happy to contact them.
Yeah, and that's good, and it's important. And I, you know, maybe you'll come back again, because this is going to continue on even after this election, because
absolutely, this is a long-term effort, and we're staying committed.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you'll be back.
I'll be happy to come back anytime you invite me over.
Okay, and I just want to make sure you go to njtpartycoalition.org, and you can get other information. So right now we'll be taking a break, and we'll be back with Tea Time. Thank you.
With all the excitement happening with the Tea Party, it may be a little hard to separate fact from fiction. Find out the truth for yourself. Visit the New Jersey Tea Party Coalition's website at www.njtpartycoalition.org. You may find a common voice to your concerns on how our government is functioning, and discover a means to help restore our nation based on the proven principles of our Constitution. With all the excitement happening with the Tea Party, it may be a little hard to separate fact from fiction. Find out the truth for yourself. Visit the New Jersey Tea Party Coalition's website at www.njtpartycoalition.org. You may find a common voice to your concerns on how our government is functioning and discover a means to help restore our nation based on the proven principles of our Constitution.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second segment of Tea Time. My name is Michelle Palamo, and I'm here to introduce you to one of our co-founders, Brian Baldwin. Brian is also our webmaster, so he is the gentleman who's the technical guru for our organization. So Brian, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'd say I'm far from a guru, but I enjoy working on the website and being involved in the Tea Party. Tonight, I was asked to speak a little bit about some of the congressional races. More so, our Tea Party is in the Bergen County area, so we were focusing on Congressman Rothman and Congressman Garrett. These are two congressmen that are diametrically opposed. They are opposite ends of the spectrum. One always votes conservative, one always very far from conservative. We were looking at some of the votes that they have cast, and we've come to the conclusion that many of the votes that Congressman Rothman passes, or that he votes on, are not in the best interest of the electorate, of the country, of the voters. Often we find that he votes against the country. As far as in national security, he's voted against missile defense, whereas Congressman Garrett has supported missile defense. Also on a variety of other social issues.
Now, how do you find, when you compare them, and they're so far different from each other, how do you feel the voters should react to those voting records? What should the voters be doing at this point in time prior to the election of November 2nd?
Well, I would prefer not to tell someone who to vote for. As a standard, we don't do that in our organization, but it's important for people to look at the records of the candidates and some of the unintended consequences of their votes. Congressman Rothman voted for a cap and trade, for example. Fortunately, we were able to stall that in the Senate. Congressman Garrett did oppose that. But the cap and trade, the unintended consequences would be higher energy prices. The Congressional Budget Office has said that it would be reflected in higher prices in heating oil, in gasoline, and electric. These are items that affect the poor and the middle class greatly, especially the poor. They would notice a marked rise in their energy bills. Just as a side note, a lot of people don't know that in New Jersey, we already have cap and trade. The Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, along with 9 other states in the Northeast. So some of us have already seen what that will do to our electric bills, to our gas bills.
I think you're right. I think it's important for the voters to look at it, because even if a congressman is not in their area, it's good for them to become informed, because their votes ultimately will affect everyone. If your congressman in your area is doing the right thing, the proper votes for the benefit of the people, and not voting with the party, just to go along the party line, then that's important to look at that. That individual is going to affect you either negatively or positively. Just because they're not in your district does not mean that their vote will not affect you. It certainly is important to see that happen.
Certainly that's true. Take the health care bill, for example. A bill that did pass has become law. Whether your congressman voted for it or against it, it has an effect on you. So I think people have a vital interest, even if your candidate is on the right side of the fence, to get involved maybe in other races. The health care bill, some of the unintended consequences are increases in premiums. A lot of businesses are going to have a hard time maintaining the health care that they provide. all during the campaign for the health care bill, we heard that you'll be able to keep your health care. You're not going to lose your plan. That's what they said. But we see in Texas, the national health care in Texas corporation out there has had to close out 2 of their plans. And they directly blame that on Obamacare, as they had claimed. Certainly doesn't affect the whole pool right now, but I think it's a sign of things to come, that as these hidden things in the bill are exposed, we're going to find that there's going to be more difficulty for insurance companies to maintain.
Yes, that's very important. I think also those insurance companies are going to raise rates to insulate themselves against what is coming down in the future. You cannot mandate them to have additional people covered, to eliminate the pre-existing conditions without expecting that those rates will rise. It's just common economics. It's very clear. So I think that's an excellent point. We have noticed with our local elections in Bergen County, the freeholders particularly, that what we are seeing quite evident is that their votes are actually affecting us on the local level. For example, our freeholders have voted to give the BCIA, which is the Bergen County Investment Authority, even more money. The BCIA is under investigation for some of the practices. Ronald O'Malley, who resigned most recently in August, is under investigation under 68 counts of fraud or suspected fraud. And the Bergen County freeholders, 3 of them who are up for election in this cycle, voted to give them additional monies. Now, that problem with the BCIA and Overpeck Park, which budget ballooned from about $5 million to almost $24 million, if not concerning in a fraudulent manner, is certainly falling under incompetence when you have a budget of $5 million and it folds into $24 million. That's a lot of money for us to be paying. They spent their time in a resolution admonishing Arizona for their efforts on immigration, which law only mirrors the federal law. And why would they be spending their time doing that when the time is better spent saving our money? It's inconceivable. They did not pass play to pay, which limits the amount of contributions people can take, or legislators can take in a cycle. And that's been passed by other counties, I think Monmouth, Mercer, and Atlantic. So we look to our own local government and say, what are they doing? What are they doing with the money? The real estate taxes are escalating. People can't afford to stay in their homes. We have elderly people who are not being able to, on a fixed income, afford to pay their taxes, and they will have to move out of the area.
Well, that's one of the reasons that people have to get involved locally, attend your city council meetings, attend freeholder meetings, attend school board meetings. Make sure you're registered to vote. Anna was on previously, mentioned get out the vote. It's important to get your neighbors out, get your friends, get your family, get them registered if they're not registered. And then be involved. We have for too long not been involved in the process. So I think it's very important for us all to keep up to date with what our elected officials are doing, to keep an eye on them, listen to what they're seeing, what they're saying, what they're doing, and hold their feet to the fire when they don't hold to what they have said they would do. Getting back to the health care vote, Congressman Rothman, he, in one of his town hall meetings, and I believe you were at that one maybe, I know the Tea Party went to many of them, he said there were several deal breakers, things that would cause him not to vote for health care. One of them was portability. We find that now there is no portability in the health care law. We also find that federally funded abortion was a deal breaker for him. He would not support a law that did not defend against federally funded abortion. but he did vote against the Stupak amendment. And although there was a presidential mandate that there would be no federal funding, there in several states have been attempts to squeeze it in, and it's something that can be broken down, a mandate by the president. It's not a law.
Yes, I think you're exactly right. People must get involved. They must become informed. They go to the first best way, and the first way is to go to your local town meetings. Find out how your money is being spent. Find out how your real estate dollars are being allocated and why they're being raised. It's not always the teachers and, you know, who are taking the money and using it in other ways. You will find that resolutions are being made by the town, and they are spending money for different projects which don't have a real interested base in the town, but they're spending money anyway on it. One of the other things which I wanted to mention, which is extremely important, is Restoring America. There is going to be, as you know, Brian, there's going to be a Restoring America, one state at a time rally at Great Adventure. It's going to be on Saturday, October 2nd, and there are going to be some headliners there, one of which will be Judge Andrew Napolitano, Lloyd Marcus, David Webb will also be there, Walid Shubat, author and speaker, Vanessa Jean Lewis will also be there, better known as the Afro-conservative spokesperson and blogger, and Steve Malzberg and Andy Sullivan. There are going to be some really good speakers there, and there are more being added as the days go on. The tickets are $50 a person. It only holds, they believe, a maximum of 8,500 people, but it's a great day. That $50 gives you access to the park in the morning, and the rally will be 3 o'clock. But this is a great family day. This is a great way to get out and to spend the time with the family and the children or the grandchildren and introduce them to a great day out. It's also a chance to get to know your like-minded neighbors who will be there and who will be doing the same thing that you are doing, trying to restore America and the state one step at a time, one state at a time. I do encourage you to go to the Great Adventure website under events and to select the date of October 2nd and to get your tickets early. As we add headliners, there will be more people that will be coming up on the lineup. So check often, because it's going to be a big rally and it's going to be a blockbuster. Well, Brian, I'm so happy that you were able to come in tonight to speak with us and to have you meet the people.
My pleasure.
It's a great time to have you come in and speak to people about the vote. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in. Tea time, please come back and see us. And remember, get out and vote. Get your neighbors to vote. It's extremely important. Don't forget, November 2nd, make sure you make it a priority. Make sure you put it on your list of things to do. The weather's good. Get out there, rally out the vote, help your state, help your town, help your country, and make sure we get the legislators that we so richly deserve.